Thanks, guys, for tuning in and checking me out. So what we're doing is instead of reading Dr. Anderson's Powernomics books, there were some brothers that by the name of D'Lo and Tank. They did the whole reading of Dr. Anderson's book. It was a superb reading. I thank those brothers. It helped me as I'm moving around. It helped me listen to their reading and cover the book that I was struggling to cover because I just didn't have the time. So I'm going to. They also read Black Labor, White Wealth if you're interested in that. So I didn't find that they started on a Black History reader. So I'm gonna go ahead and read that. And what we're trying to do is that reading is so important for us to get out of the condition that we're in, and we have to start with that first and foremost. We got to make reading a priority again. So it looks like there's a national report card organization they're called NAPE. NAPE put out some numbers not too long ago, and it shows our kids that our kids are number four and double falling behind in double digits behind. There are no other groups with joining the same category as our kids. So forget that we are sharing a spot with anybody else. We're falling behind. We're double digits behind um, all other groups. And we gotta, as parents, as elders, as members of the community of the village, we have got to do an all hands on deck. All hands on deck. We have got to help our children, and we're not. Some of us are not doing a good enough job. I put myself first and foremost in that observation, and I'm gonna pick my game up and try to do more as a black man in my community to help our kids. So we have an organization that is has programs, and one of the most important programs is reading, because without reading, there is no other. You're not going to have any other success until you learn how to read and understand reading and comprehension. So we sign your kids up for, and we're also looking for volunteers to help us with the demand of sitting with our children and our young adults and helping them increase their proficiency and when it comes to reading. And nothing is more important right now. So check that out at the website nepaba.org. Help me out, help us out. Um, we'd appreciate it, whatever you can do. So we're going to dive into a Black History reader with Dr. Claud Anderson is the author, and part one, Foundation Concepts. Question one: what is a social construct and how was it used in the making of America? A social construct is a purposely created idea developed by one group with authority that defines another group with lesser or no authority. A social construct frames the perception of and the relationship between the groups. It becomes part of the culture, infused into the social norms and practices of every part of society, including legal, educational, financial, political, and interpersonal relationships. The most important social construct in America is race. The founding fathers purposefully constructed the societal positions of blacks and whites. Blacks were to be property that served whites, and whites were to be the only beneficiaries of the new country that they created. Now, I shouldn't have to say what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. We're not about hating anybody. No other group has to put that disclaimer out there, but I have to put that disclaimer out there. We're not about hating anybody. What we're trying to do is shine a light on the fact that our children are falling behind. If there's if the children are not successful, most likely the adults won't be successful. So no successful children, no successful adults. So we have to, at some point, those who are already adults and elders and those who care enough have to jump in, and we all have to do something. Um, Christopher Columbus discovered the new land that was to be America in the same time frame that the Pope declared that blacks from Africa should be made slaves. It was the promise of free land and free labor that fueled the rush of Europeans to settle the new land. The implement To implement their plan for free labor, Europeans designed the relationship between blacks and whites. The social construct on race was formally stated in the Articles of the Confederation and restated in the Constitution of the United States. Now, what we do also is here at NEPABA is that one of the things we teach our kids in the Garveyite Scouts Brigade is that, which is a co-ed, to if you're more familiar with the Boy Scouts, it's co-ed Boy Scout and Girl Scout. And what one of the things in our Garveyite Urban Survival Division is that, but let me back up. There's three pillars. There's sports, then we have Garveyite Wilderness Survival Division, which is, developing a skill set of survival skills, basic survival skills. And then we have Garveyite Urban Survival Division, which will teach them, basically, to sum it up in a nutshell, is civics. It teaches them about their local government. It teaches them about local businesses and how those interact. And it also teaches them about the number one playbook that we all have to play by, which is the Constitution. And with our children, with our adults past, our ancestors leading, coming forward, somehow, some way, they lost touch and somehow uh, the lost the amendments, or had the amendments watered down that were given to the slaves at post in within Reconstruction. So period, which is after slavery supposedly ended. So they lost the 13th Amendment. It was either lost or watered down, depending on who you talk to. The 14th Amendment was either lost or watered down, and the 15th Amendment was either lost or watered down. Those children in our organization, in our program, they learn what those amendments were for, who they were for, and why they were important, and why it's important at some time in the future to get those amendments back, and back uh, under the focus, and put the focus back where it initially was supposed to be. So that's one of the things that we do in the organization. So the Constitution is something that they have to know backwards and forwards. So the social construct on race was formally stated in the Articles of the Confederation and restated in the Constitution of the United States, as well as the first immigration laws. I will discuss these documents in detail later in this book. The social construct on race is the thread that weaves through black enslavement, U.S. Supreme Court rulings, laws, institutions, conservative and liberal ideologies, extra legal, example is Ku Klux Klan, activities, and all aspects of the nation's culture. It is fundamental to the founding of our country that blacks would always be pressed to the bottom, and that whites would always retain superiority over blacks. The relationship endures to this day. The social construct on race was deliberate and permanent. It is so fundamental to the issue of race that the topic cannot be considered in any serious way without understanding it. It is therefore the first question in this book. We're going to stop there, and we're going to pick up again on part two, question two. So, I don't want the video to go too long because I am talking in between. So I'll stop there and then we'll pick it up. So once again, our organization, we take groups of kids, we funnel them in. The first thing that they learn, the first priority is that we make sure that they read, they know how to read, and we stick to them. They are assigned a G team, which is a group of 2 to 4. They're assigned a volunteer, which is a G reader, and then the person who the adult who runs that group is called a PAW, a PAW, which is a positive affirmation warrior, which they are drowned in positive affirmations. Um, to undo all the negative uh, feelings and stereotypes that they've had to encounter before they came to our organization. So that's one of the things. And then we go over in the urban division, survival division, we go over what is your community, how do you build a community, how does the government relate to you as an individual citizen in the community, and how does all of this tie in with the Constitution. So we will be teaching them that. We teach them that so that by the time they are adults, they understand the system. And so thanks for tuning in, everybody. Come back and we'll read over the book, and I'll let you know how we're doing in our organization. And I hope that you join. If you're interested in joining, um, we are strictly we are the biggest fans of our children, and we hope that you sign your kids up to the Garveyite Scouts Brigade, our reading groups. If you're interested in being a volunteer, we're looking for young volunteers, for old volunteers, so to help our kids read, and we're looking for math people, individuals who are proficient in math, so you can help tutor with that also. So thanks a lot, everybody. Meet me back here in a few days, and we'll have the next video up, part 2, question 2.